Thanks very much for coming along this afternoon as we're faced with some of the most swingeing cuts that local government in Scotland has faced. But this is not a new situation for council workers both here in Falkirk and throughout Scotland. In Falkirk, Unison and members and colleagues in other trade unions have already been at the receiving end of some £43 million worth of cuts taken from the local authority's budget since 2011. And what that means, comrades, in practical terms, is that 132 of our colleagues have left already as a result of voluntary severance, and innumerable posts have been left vacant as recruitment is frozen and the jobs are left undone. Our members are busy trying to cover up the gaps in service by working 2 or 3 jobs at a time, by putting a sticking plaster on the services, through suffering by overwork, stress and illness. But despite that, local government workers continue to try to deliver the services that we are committed to and we are employed to provide. Those services are absolutely vital to the fabric of the society in which we live. Social work, caring for our elderly neighbours, caring for the disadvantaged in our society who need a helping hand. Education, looking after the future of our children and looking after the communities in which we live. Housing, to make sure that our neighbours and friends have decent and affordable places to stay and keep them out of the clutches of the scandal of Rahman landlordism that is growing again in Scotland, in Falkirk and across the United Kingdom. Environmental health officer, responsible for food safety, responsible for cleansing, holding back the great infections of the 19th century at bay. And our leisure workers, looking after us in body and mind. All these things are essential parts of the services that we provide. But looking forward, comrades, to 2016-17, we see that Falkirk Council is facing cuts of up to £25 million in its revenue budget. And what the trade unions are seeing is that potentially job losses at a scale never seen before will be impacting our members that work as classroom assistants, that work in community education, that work in library services, that provide family support to children at school. Our workers in adult day centres, jobs at risk, and in the trust, tasked with providing our leisure services, some 40% of the professional librarians' posts will be deleted. Now then, Falkirk Council's our employer. So in normal times, we'd be marching hundreds strong at the municipal buildings in Falkirk, demanding that Falkirk Council stop the cuts. But the reality today, in Scotland under an SNP government, Falkirk Council is absolutely impotent. There's nothing they can do to protect the communities or the workforce from the cuts that are coming their way. The council's not in control. Everything connected with local government finance rests in John Swinney's hands. That's where the power lies in Scotland, not in the local authorities. Local democracy in Scotland under this Scottish government is dead. Now we all know, comrades, that the source of this ideological attack on public services rests with the Cameron government in London. We know that. We know that. They're the number one target for the Labour and trade union movement, and we've mobilised to take them on. But that's not the whole story. Because in Scotland, we have a devolved government. And that role of the SNP government can't be left unexamined. They get a block grant from Westminster. They get their cash handed to them. But they have got powers. And they have got choices. For example, in the forthcoming financial year 2016-2017, the Scottish Government's grant was increased by the Osborne and Cameron government by £205 million. That's not enough. That's a cut in real terms. But nevertheless, on top of that, Sturgeon and Swinney cuts local government in Scotland's budget by £500 million. Their choice, the choice they've made, is that local government carries the brunt of Tory austerity. Their job, comrades, their task is to alleviate the impacts of Tory cuts on our communities. That's their function. That's why they were elected to power. If they're not going to do that, what's the point of them? Comrades, no ifs, no buts, no more cuts to local government.